I played this game every week, over 800 hours at this point. Uh-oh. Wait, what? Community is energized. Devs have done multiple updates since their first DLC in 2020. Definitely a good buy. So there's the opposite of that, right? There are people who, instead of a thumb up, they're giving it thumb down plus L plus ratio. So we're gonna take a look at negative Steam reviews in Dead Cells. This is something I got from another YouTuber. I think Fireborn did this for Hollow Knight, so this is not an original idea. I took a quick glance and I saw some stuff that actually looked genuinely hilarious, and some stuff that, you know what? Maybe that's a good point that I never knew. Dude, I only have 1,800 hours in the game. That's it. So for all I know, there's someone in here with 2,000 hours in the game with a negative review. If we find that person, maybe that's you, the viewer out there with 2,000 hours of negative review, let me know if it is. And to be fair, 97% positivity. So we're looking at like the most recent negative reviews. First two on the list, no. And also no. At 5 hours. Not bad. I would assume at the 5 hour mark, a yes or no is probably viable. Of course, you would want more. But I mean, when you're 5 hours in, 2 letters is all you need. As I'm going through this, I'm not saying that anyone's wrong in their review. That's the disclaimer on this. Not a single one of these reviews are wrong. No, it's not wrong. That's just what they said. It's their words, not mine. I thought it was pretty bland. Wouldn't buy again. In 2 hours, you probably could get to Promenade. Maybe you could get to Rampart in 2 hours. But I feel as though if you died in prison quarters 2 or 3 times and like nothing changed, right? You just went in, died to a zombie, it loaded up the same thing. Maybe the tutorial lady moved at that point. But if you didn't see the tutorial lady is now like a dead body on the floor, then it's bland. Like the game's not changing. 50 hours. After 50 hours, the game decided to delete and restart all progress because reasons. I would give this game a big thumbs up if it wasn't because I lost all of it. If I were to lose my save, would I go to the store page and put a negative review? Maybe I would review the Steam community forums to see if there's like a save issue. And if there's a save issue, let's say that everyone was saying that I lost my save, devs are doing nothing about saves breaking, that's a negative review right there. Because reasons. Is that because they downloaded some a hentai mod for Dead Cells and now they lost their save because someone up above nuked it? I don't know. 0.2 hours. That's 20% of 60 minutes. Remove damage caps. That's basically, I loaded up Dead Cells, I walked through prison quarters, please remove damage caps. Now if you say, okay, well they're talking about the bosses. Concierge, they got to Concierge in 0.2 hours and they saw the boss cap. How? In 0 BC at 0.2 hours, how do you ever see the Concierge boss cap? I mean, if they speed ran to Concierge and still hit the damage cap while speed running, I gotta tell Vord. Rock Tomb, we need to tell Rock Tomb about this. 5 hours, found it grindy and monotonous. Now again, if they just see prison quarters over and over and over again in 5 hours, that's not unreasonable. They will load up the game, they will see green zombies in prison quarters, green zombies in Promenade, green zombies in Ramparts. And when they die in Ramparts, they go back and they see more green zombies. And like, to be fair, that's probably monotonous. Is it grindy? I'm not gonna get to that just yet, but I can see that, sure. It seems like a decent enough game, feels rather polished, and there's some semblance of story, I suppose. It just doesn't make me want to come back. There's no, oh, now I get to upgrade about dying. That's kind of legit. In other games that you play, Hades, you don't do meta upgrades during the run, you do it after you die. compared to Dead Cells, where you have currency on you, you can literally lose all your currency mid-run. There's not enough story to make long games worth it, and not quite enough interesting action to make me want to get better at it. That's an interesting take. All you saw was balance blade, marksman bow, twin dagger, sinew slicer. Like, think about how these items look while you're playing them. Infantry grenade. Like, none of those items really do anything cool. But to be fair, the devs have actually addressed this. In the new accessibility update, they actually reduced the sell costs for a lot of stuff. So the idea is we want you to unlock stuff, and like that stuff is fun compared to the base items. There's a lot of typical roguelike pacing problems. Difficulty is very much tailored towards high octane playstyle, emphasizes dodging and parries. I don't know about this one. Feels like an endless, pointless grind with weird difficulty spikes. Also dislike the cynical tongue-in-cheek lore. Some people actually like this. Some people like the Dead Cells character like not caring about anything, or at least making fun of like the dead bodies and stuff. Yo, go Pochi, man.
Main character did the middle finger. I am outraged. 010 bad game.
Hey, those are your words, not mine. As we said earlier, every negative review here is valid. What is this, devs? Happened after deleted alpha. I got a bug. Game bugged. Negative review. Fix your game. 100. Wait. No. 250 hours. They got a bug in the alpha and left a negative review. That is a legitimate negative review right there. You know what? As I said, they're all valid in their own way. This one, the devs are gonna see this. How the devs are gonna react to it, I don't know. All I will say is that 250 hours, they got a bug in the alpha and then left a negative review. That's kind of next level. My therapist keeps telling me dodge rolling doesn't actually solve every problem, but eat my what? Negative review at... How does this happen? Why is that not a positive review? Are they not memeing? I gotta take a screenshot of this and show this to Alexa. Alexa, I was just talking about you. Tyler, you gotta help me out here. What? Help me. Help me. I need assistance here. I need an adult. 1.3 hours in. Game good? Game bad? Who the heck knows? Whenever I try to alt-tab to do anything, the game keeps stealing my focus and demands I pay attention to it when I'm trying to do something else. Negative review, 1.3 hours. Okay, so let's think about it this way. You are a Bloons TD6 pro player. Like, you're going to Evo playing Bloons. You got the best chimp builds ever. You're writing YouTube guides. You can play Bloons alt-tabbed, and then you go back to playing Fortnite or something. You can't do that in Dead Cells. So we said every review is valid. That's a negative review. I don't know what else to tell you. Perhaps this early in the game, you cannot alt-tab yet. Maybe that's a skill you need to develop. Another potentially great game ruined by stupid, unfun difficulty. Who thought conjunctivious bots, the tentacle enemies, and a bunch of other hard for no reason crap? Did I write this? Was a good idea. They should be nowhere near game design or other people. I mean, it's COVID season, so I guess that's not unreasonable. Because they are clearly a sociopath. The movement in the game is also awkward, and you'll grab ledges you don't want to and climb walls accidentally and get hit as a result. I'm trying to think, when would I ever be able to climb a wall that results in me getting hit? Like, if you think about Dead Cells, the way how the maps are designed, it's typically like a box with ledges. And like, you're fighting things on the ledges, and if you go to a wall, typically the wall has a ledge on it, right? There's not a lot of dead ends in Dead Cells, and if you reach a dead end, you go the other way. Correct me if I'm wrong. If I'm tripping here, I want to know. If you were to put this on a 2-hour review, I would be more inclined to say, yeah, you probably had a panic situation and the game may not have set you up for panic very well. At the 70-hour mark, I don't know if I'm assuming that like the panic didn't lead you to go the other way. If you think about that they grabbed a ledge they didn't want to, that means they were doing some kind of aerial combat and the game decided, oh, you want to go up? Clearly you want to be on this platform. Maybe like hit downward with electric whip. And instead they like got on the platform and like aggro the slasher that was up there, and now they're getting tagged by the slasher. Like there's a level of hours that I would say that is definitely a negative review. And then like after that, I think there's a level of, hey, you got options. I tried really hard to like this game. It feels okay all around, but doesn't stand out as the best. There's other better roguelikes, better platformers, better loot games, like Diablo. What's a loot game? My main critic is it's a B-. Does that mean the other games are S's or like A+? I almost wish that this person put, besides Hollow Knight, like clearly they're a Hollow Knight fan, like what other games are an A+ with this stuff? 227 hours. Let's try to Cliff Notes it a little bit. You played Dead Cells for a ton of hours. Would you recommend it? I mean, obviously I spent a ton of games, but I still wouldn't recommend. Blends twitchy reflex challenges, insufferable parkour physics, inscrutable midair physics, punishes you savagely for the most minute human error. But wait. Before we keep going, do you leave a bad review because of 5BC? Or like 5BC is probably 200 hours into the game. This is like you're playing New Game Plus in Elden Ring, but you didn't leave the bad review until you got into New Game Plus. Or I'm tripping. I don't know. One of those unbearably smug sorts of I'm so difficult, get good games. If you go on Reddit, to be fair, they do this on Reddit. Perhaps they hopped on Reddit and then they decided this was, you know, kind of bad. Abandon all hope of ever seeing the true boss. That is something. I will say that. I know statistically I will never beat hard mode 2 out of 5. So they're in 2BC. Yo, if you're out there, we have a guide. ! 2BC in the chat. That'll give you everything you need to know to get into the upper echelon of of smug get good gamers. I gotta use this. Every time someone comes in my chat, talk about some get good, I'm gonna link them this and say this is you, by the way. I think that's a valid negative review. There's a lot of good stuff in there, to be perfectly honest. Not everything is like gonna make it to the whiteboard. But what I will say is that if I was the dev and I saw this, I would print it out, put it on the corkboard, highlight specific stuff, and I would be like, okay, team, don't read the other stuff, but look at these highlights. Let's work on this. That, I like it. Compared to nah, F this game at 37 hours, that's a little different. Boring, repetitive, supremely overrated. Ooh, holy smokes. No, shots fired. Chose violence this morning. Whoever designed the bank should honestly retire and consider their life choices. Okay, hear me out. This is very viable, but at 4 hours in, just the bank is very evil. Not quite distillery levels. Like distillery is a whole nother animal. And like I almost want this person to skip bank for now, see distillery, and then leave the negative review. Edit your review, put in distillery in there, and then I'm on board with it. The game could be so good, but all the upgrades and items are just boring, like stat upgrades. This is gonna be in my video. 5 major issues in Dead Cells. and the thumbnail is like the Dead Souls game in a trash can, and it says bad game, this is gonna be in that video, 100%. Not the grindy part. I feel like the grind is because you keep going back to prison quarters every time you die, and that's like not fun. But the boring stat upgrades, that's in there, 100%. I recommend. Wait.
What happened? What
160 hours. Why would you do that? Like, if you can go to Reddit, you can go to Twitter, you can go to the community forums. It's right here. Wait, maybe it's harder to find. Okay, maybe this was their issue. They wanted to go into Community Hub and then go to discussions. And then, oh yeah, this is actually kind of hard, right? Then you have to start a discussion. Oh no, you gotta sign in, make a post. The post is gonna get downvoted. Or I can do it right here. This is the easy place to put it, right? 100% is gonna get read here. Not bad, not bad. This game sucks, please delete immediately. Okay, that's a novel, holy crap. So the combat revolves around very aggressive button mashing gameplay, where the players ram into enemies and either one-shot them or stun lock them to death in a furious chain of destruction. So there's good and bad in here. The combat revolves around very aggressive button mashing, but there are items that are actually anti-button mash, and perhaps they just never unlock them. A lot of tactic stuff you literally can't button mash because it's not capable of doing that. It's a bow. You either one-shot the enemy or stun lock it to death. And when you think about other games, your Hades, your Isaacs, your Hollow Knights, and I guess Hollow Knight's a bad example because you might be skipping monsters, but can someone tell me a game out there that's an action roguelike where the monsters aren't killed because you one-shot them or CC them? I don't know if there's a game out there that's an action roguelike that isn't designed for you to kill the monsters as fast as possible. If I were to go through my own games, 195, that's sick. So One Step from Eden is an action roguelike, but it's literally a strategy deck builder. So that's not the same. Curse of the Dead Gods, you really, if the monsters stay alive in Curse of the Dead Gods, you probably lost. The baby stays alive, you may have actually died. Risk of Rain 2 kinda, but Risk of Rain is, like you said, one-shot heaven. Skull the Hero Slayer, if you get to Act 4 and Skull the Hero Slayer and the monsters live, that's bad. You will literally die. Maybe Gungeon is the closest game to like the monsters don't get one shot. But then again, like, let's talk about the first area of Gungeon. In the first area of Gungeon, you save your gun and then use the basic gun to get through, but only if you have a lot of hours in the game. Whereas I feel like everyone else who plays Gungeon, as a new player, you get a gun that's strong, you use it right away. Aggressive combat theoretically is conducive with this, but there are many different unfair factors. Most classically, when enemies group up and attack in sequence, where if the player tries to dodge one hit, they'll dodge into another hit.
What happened?
That is a very classic roguelike thing. And like eventually you learn to not dodge roll into enemies. Every game does this. Dark Souls does it. Assassin's Creed does it. God of War does it. I think this is just a video game thing. And I'm not picking this apart, like nitpicking, well, this is wrong, this is wrong. Clearly it's a wrong thing. I'm just trying to say, okay, here's a negative review. Here's how we could have made it positive after like a few more hours. Equipment comes with a vast amount of monotonous micro features, such as dealing damage based off of synergies or scenarios. Now, okay, maybe this is someone who played Risk of Rain 2. Risk of Rain, you don't have to worry about that stuff. It's just get item, do big number, which kind of like clashes with some of the stuff up here. But some people hate this in roguelites, where it's like, I don't want to have to worry about, okay, I have a weapon that does damage to bleeding. I need to get a bleeding source. My bleeding source now does damage to fire, but there's no such thing as fire in this color. So I need to find a colorless version of a fire dealing attack. But now, like, this monster is immune to fire. So like, what do I do against it? I think that's fair. Dead Cells, Hades, Skull, Dandy Ace, even Slay the Spire has this, right? It's like a build. It's a synergy. You do X and get X out of it. You do agree with the paragraph they got highlighted? Yeah, I think there's some real stuff in here, 100%. I'm just trying to show you all like how this could also have been a good review with either A, a few more hours, or B, specific insights into other stuff. And maybe like you beat your head against the wall for long enough, a negative review is gonna turn into a positive one, right? Pain, 180 hours. Left the review. All right. Left the review at 184 hours. Pain, negative review. I like that. I like that. Wow. So that's the negative reviews on Dead Cells. I would like to say every negative review has its own viability. They're all good. You're all winners in my book when it comes to negativity. Just some of them, such as F this game, some of those are a little better than others. That's all I'm gonna say. Anyway, I hope you all enjoyed looking at reviews. If you like that kind of thing, let me know. There's tons of other games we can look at too. There's Hades, One Step. We could look at PUBG negative reviews if you want. I'm all for it.